All right, so the next section is one of the most loved sections of the afternoon. It is 3 journeys that you will hear about today that I'm super excited about hearing these 3 journeys. And I'll give you a brief intro of all the 3 people who are coming up on stage. And after that, we are going to get started. And last but not the least is Jai Rawat, my senior from IIT Kanpur. He's my senior. I make sure I call that out because he does not look like my senior after he has been doing all kinds of treks and crazy mountaineering. So I want to make sure I call that out, that he racked me and not vice versa. He is a successful serial entrepreneur and an investor, an advisor and mentor to several startups. He has over 25 years of industry experience and has a track record and deep passion of creating exceptional online customer experience and products. He's currently the CEO and founder of Zenerlo. You might have heard of that company. And that he's basically redefining the loyalty reward space. For the last 2 years, this is where things get interesting. He has been very focused on creating a balance between startup and family and health. And he has done whole kinds of interesting things, including 2 full marathons, several interesting treks, including one to Everest Base Camp. He has climbed a 20,000-foot mountain and biked, this is the most recent thing, from San Francisco to LA. And that's how he manages to look so young. So without further ado, let's start with the lightning talk.
Good afternoon, everyone. So like countless others in the Valley, I've been a tech entrepreneur most of my career. 2 years ago, on a whim, I joined a few friends to go for a trek to Everest Base Camp. And while I still am a tech entrepreneur today, it has had a transformative effect on my life, and I want to share some of the glimpses and learnings from you today, with you today. And Ankur, you didn't have any slides, so I'm going to have about 50 slides here to make up for that. So before I begin, though, how many of you have done any long-distance running, trekking, or biking? Fantastic. That's quite a few. And my goal here is to motivate more of you to do the same. So here's what I've done in the last 2 years. I went to Everest Base Camp trek, did a full marathon after that in 2016. Last year, I climbed a mountain which was 20,000 foot high called Stoke Kangri, did another full marathon. And then earlier this year, I did a bike ride from San Francisco to Los Angeles. Okay. So thank you. So one of the common questions that I get asked is, why would you do that, right? You're probably thinking the same. You know, life is about creating experiences. And you really have to push yourself to figure out what you are capable of. And you know, the clock is ticking. I probably have another 10, maybe if I'm lucky, 15 years ahead of me. So I really wanted to see what else I can do. So let's start with the first one, Everest Base Camp. It is at a height of about 17,600 feet. And to give you an idea of that elevation, it's right at that edge of extreme altitude zone, where you are at a severe risk of getting altitude-related sicknesses. The oxygen level is about half of what is here. And therefore, anything you do is about 4 times more hard. You know, just tying your shoelaces is an ordeal at that height. So this is our group. We flew from Kathmandu to Lukla in a small airplane, landed at the airport, which is considered to be one of the most dangerous airports in the world. It's a very strong landing strip. We are carrying a day pack, about 15, 20 pounds, which felt at least double the weight at that altitude. The rest of the stuff was in duffel bags that was being carried by the porters. I'm just sharing some quick pictures with you. This is Dudh Koshi River that we crisscrossed many times on these wire bridges, which are beautiful but also a bit unnerving to walk on. And we stayed in Hilton. Any guesses what that stands for? It's Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay. Now, I mentioned that carrying even small load was very hard. It was really humbling to see these porters carrying unbelievable amount of load at that altitude. It was just amazing to see that. Saw some great wildlife. Here's morning sun burning up the mountains. It looks like their mountains are fire. You know, here in Silicon Valley, we are surrounded by mountains which are, what, 1,000, 2,000 feet high? The scale was very different there. They don't even bother naming mountains that are less than, say, about 10,000 feet. We passed a memorial. This is for the Everest climbers who have died in their quest to climb Everest. Some parts of the treks were a bit treacherous. You're advisable not to slip. This is pretty much at the base camp. This is the famous Khumbu Glacier. My trek came to an end here, but for those who are climbing Everest, this is really where they start the climb, by crossing this glacier. So that's me at the Everest base camp. Yes, I did it. The Haldiram Bhujia never tasted better. Some fun poses at the base camp. That's a view of Mount Everest with the moon in the background. On the way back, I met this Sherpa who was coming back from his 10th climb on Mount Everest. He has a frostbite on his right ear, as you can see there. That's us celebrating after the climb, and that's me getting back to being human. So some learnings from the trek. Preparation, so I'm going to try to combine these learnings with professional and personal experiences as well. So, as with anything, preparation was the key. I really prepared intensely, which helped me overcome many of the adversities that I encountered along the way. Getting to the top alone is no fun. So really, you want to succeed as a team and wait for others. And I know this is a cliche, but I really understood the true meaning of this on the trek. You really need to enjoy the journey and not just focus on the destination. All right, so the second one was Stoke Kangri, which is about a 20,000-foot mountain that I climbed last year. That is squarely in the extreme altitude zone. This was the route that we took. And that's our team. And yes, that's the same T-shirt that I'm wearing right now. This is Indus River, the namesake river for India. We got blessings from Buddha before the trek. And yes, there are some treacherous sections here as well. As you can see, this is a very narrow ridge cliff that we are walking on. Some beautiful views of the mountain. That's my best Shah Rukh Khan pose. And that's Stoke Kangri in the distance. And that's us reaching the Stoke Kangri base camp. So Stoke Kangri base camp is at about 16,300 feet. And this is from here you climb the mountain in one shot. So we learned to rope ourselves up, learned to use ice axe in case of, if any slippage and falling. Had to use crampons. Now, what happened on this trek was I caught a bug even before we started the trek. And I was in fever all along. And I wasn't even able to sleep well, and of course, not getting any rest because we were trekking all along. And the climb from base camp to the peak is incredibly steep. It's a 4,000-foot climb, and it has to be done overnight because you're walking on snow, so you have to wait until the snow is frozen, and you have to come back before the snow starts melting. So there's a small window of opportunity to go and come back. So I decided to wait for another day just to see if I'm well enough to attempt the climb. The rest of the team went ahead, and you can see some pictures from, of what the climb looked like. And when they came back, they basically told me that I should not attempt the climb. I should just quit. One of the guys had to be brought back on the shoulders of Sherpas, and it was really tough. And they said, even for people who are 100% fit, it's really tough. And I wasn't even half fit. So I deliberated for a while, and then decided to give it a go anyways, and managed to make it to the top. I even managed to do my headstand. Most of the climb was at night, so we didn't really see the glacier. On the way back, when it was daylight, that's when we saw all these crevasses, which, if we had seen earlier, probably wouldn't have done it. And that's us, reaching back at Stoke Kangri village. Now, some learnings from here. This is really very different and much tougher than the Everest Base Camp trek. So the first thing was, perseverance. I had every right to quit, and nobody would have questioned if I had quit and not tried. But really, perseverance was the key here. I had to take calculated risks. And it's not like business risks. These are literally life and death situations. There are steep cliffs and thin ice, as you can see here, and I wasn't well. But I had to trust my gut and believe in myself and go for it. And all my friends who were very well-intentioned were telling me not to do it, but I had to really trust that I could do it, and I did it. These are pictures from a couple of marathons that I've done. And I know, again, this is another cliche, but you really have to do a marathon to understand the true meaning of it's a marathon, because when you're at the 20-mile mark, you're really thinking, where is the finish line? These are some pictures from a bike ride, which was 500 miles that we covered in 6 days. There were just 2 of us. We had never done this thing before, so it was completely ad hoc. This is some pictures again. This is Pismo Beach. We had to fix a flat tire on the shoulder of Highway 101 with cars whizzing past us at 65 miles an hour. Made it to Santa Monica Pier. That was our destination. And this time, my bike joined me in the headstand. So some learnings. First and foremost, this was really revealing. How little do we need in life? This is all we carried for 6 days. That's all we survived on. That's all we needed, really. So we accumulate a lot of stuff, but this was really eye-opening that we really need very little in life to survive. Everything else is just a desire, not a need. You have to be bold. Go for the impossible. Again, as I said, we had never done this before. We had no idea what to expect. There's just 2 of us, and we took off without really any experience or any guides. And you're never too old to learn. I'm 49. I had never biked seriously before. I just trained for 6 weeks, learned the techniques, learned bike repairs and whatnot, and went for it. And lastly, some unexpected benefits that I accrued along the way. Family time. You would think that it was taking time away from family. In fact, the exact opposite happened. My kids started joining me for these weekend treks that I was doing for training. Imagine teenage kids waking up at 5:30 in the morning on a Saturday, joining their dad for a 6-hour trek without any electronics. Beat that, right? That's the family time I was able to get from this. Kids literally do imitate you. They'll do as you do, not as you say. So my kids have done half marathons and 10Ks as well. I found these to be really meditative. It unlocks, the right brain and the creativity, which doesn't get much used in day-to-day life. So there's some health benefits as well, some remarkable improvements in my health numbers here. And last but not least, it is pure happiness. It takes a few days to really disconnect and get over that, what I call the Chipkali syndrome. Chipkali, the house lizard that stays stuck on the ceiling. It thinks that if it moves, the ceiling will come crashing down. We all have that syndrome. We think that if we go away for 7 days, the world will come to a standstill. It doesn't. So it takes you a few days away from the world to realize that the world will continue on, and you can disconnect, and you can really enjoy the journey. Thank you.
I'd like to invite Subhash Tantri to come up on stage and all the lightning round speakers and get a little token of appreciation from Subhash, IIT Bombay. Earlier I invited him, but it was a little mix-up, but this time really it is Subhash Tantri. Oh, yeah. I have to say I'm so impressed by these 3 talks. I think I need to take better care of my gums, order that gel. I need to start hiking, trekking more often. And what was the third thing? Of course, inner peace, Shambhavi, right? So thank you very much. All you guys were amazing, inspirational. Now some fun part. I would like to invite the Startup Mela team. As you guys know, there were more than 30 startups being showcased here today, and we did a little reward or award ceremony that our team is going to come up and talk about and give away some prizes to the winners of the Startup Mela. So Kiranya, please come up on stage and let's get some awards for the well-deserving startups that we had today. So it's limited the number of prizes we can give out, but I do want to say we are very blessed to have such amazing startups in showcasing their products here. Hope you guys had an opportunity. If not, please do go by the booths and take a look.
Good evening. It's really a pleasure and a privilege to be presenting this team, first of all, the very energetic Startup Mela volunteer team, which has put together an amazing show, as you have seen throughout the day. Most of the energy is still there, never seems to be fading. So thanks everyone who took the time to put their raffles there. And at this time, let me introduce the whole team here, starting with Uday, who is really the lead of the team and the center of. So myself, Kiran Biswal, and we have. Can we have Srini come up stage, please, and Kiran Kasturi as well? This is Siva. He's the mastermind behind all the logistics around the Startup Mela. And then we have Sindhuja. She has been the face of the team throughout. the past few months we have been working. And then we have Anurag working with Sindhuja very closely. So with that, let me do the honors. And it's time to announce the prizes based on the raffle draw. It's time for the announcement. And I think I will go in the reverse order. The third prize is a tie between Rizgo and Data Cabinet. Can the teams come up, please?
They don't know that they're supposed to. Okay. Why don't you announce the next one too?
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
Okay, just to save time, based on expert suggestion from Surbi, we will also announce the second prize, and they should be ready in the line. The second prize goes to Shiksha, amazing startup, amazing energy. And last but not the least, the winner really is Sentry, and I would like the Sentry team to come upstage, please.
Everybody's here. We just wanted to give them a little thank you gift from Google, who's one of the sponsors, and this is the Google Home product. So every winning team will get a Google Home, please. Thank you. And the third one? Okay. Okay, we can. Okay, you can give it to me. Thank you. And now I wanted to invite the leads of the conference to please come up on stage. And Bimal is going to call out each one of them, but please come up on stage anyways while Bimal introduces you and does a vote of thanks, and then we'll announce the rest of the evening to you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Bimal Sangari, and I'm a co-chair of this conference. Thank you so much for being here. This conference is not possible without your attendees and your passion and energy that you bring to the entire day. So I just wanted to let you know that a conference like this is not an easy challenge to put together. We had a significant amount of effort and preparation that went into it, but with a team as wonderful as the ones you're about to see here, any amount of an obstacle can be overcome. So I want to quickly thank the lead volunteers here, and in no particular order, I'll start to mention all of them and their contributions in a quick summary. So our fearless leader, Meenakshi, who's been leading the conference and putting together everything that you saw today. Thank you, Meenakshi. Gaurav has been one of our key sponsorship leads that has brought in all the sponsors here today. So thank you, Gaurav, for all the hard work that you put in. Ashish here has been our content lead, and he's responsible for the fantastic speakers, the lightning talks, the panelists, and the keynotes that you heard today. Thank you, Ashish. And Indra is our bean counter, so he's been making sure that every dollar is well spent. Thank you, Indra, for keeping our accounts clean. Lochan has done a wonderful job with social media. So a lot of you guys may have seen ads in LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter, etc. That's all thanks to the hard work that Lochan has put in. Padma is like a rock in this conference in terms of preparation. She is the one who has all the information about what the logistic challenges are to pull together a conference in a facility like this. So thank you, Padma, for making sure that every little I is dotted and T is crossed. Thank you. Kundan has been actually stretching himself to serve many roles, but the key role that he has played is heading all the volunteers and bringing them together, as well as the entire registration process. So Kundan, thank you for going above and beyond to make this all possible. And Surbi, who you've been hearing from a lot, has actually played a vital role in marketing and our PR and communication part of it. So thank you, Surbi, for all the work in getting the word out about the conference. So I'd like to quickly call Kundan, who's our volunteer lead, to actually speak a few words about some of our volunteers who've actually helped man the different tracks that you're seeing on stage right now. And a quick call out to Aman as well. Aman's been a key contributor to the group as well, and sort of a mentor to all of us in terms of how to pull this off, since he sort of led the way in the last few conferences. So I want to call out give a shout out to Aman as well for his contributions. Jai, thank you for joining us. Jai has been instrumental as well on the content track. He's also been helping Ashish and Meenakshi on making sure we pull in all the right speakers. Thank you, Jai. With that, Kundan, would you like to say a few words about our volunteers?
Thank you for be a part of this conference, and I would like to take this opportunity to call out volunteers. Without their help, it's almost difficult to have this kind of conference. So I would like to call a name. Please, volunteer, come and stand by. From content team, one of the most important part of this conference, Bini, Richa, Amina, Sanket and Palvi. And from logistics side, I would like to call Saroj, Dilip, Mitesh. And from registration team, I would like to call Sanjeev, Kapil, Bhaskar, Mitesh, Neha, Kishan, Sanket, Charudatta, Murli, and at the same time, I would apologize if I forget some of our volunteers' name, but I do appreciate their effort, and I would like to say a big thank you to this team of volunteers who helped putting this kind of conference. Thank you.
A couple of people I forgot to call out. So I want to give a big shout out to Inder Kriplani, who has actually helped us put our website together. So all the information on our website, Inder has single-handedly created that. So big shout out to Inder Kriplani. And finally, and not the least, I want to also mention Uday, who's our Startup Mela lead. He actually brought in 35 startups today here that you've seen. And honestly, I've been very impressed with the quality of our startups today. Most of them are doing some amazing work in their respective fields. And I think with this kind of momentum, I'm looking forward to seeing how much more we can expand this Startup Mela concept. And we might actually need a bigger place next year. So thank you, Uday, for all the hard work in the Startup Mela. So guys, this is the team that put this show together. Thank you for making this successful. We actually hope that some of you might want to join us for next year's preparation. So if you are interested in joining this team, we would welcome your contribution and your association. So please reach out to any of us. The links are on the website as well. Or if you know us personally, please send an email. We would love for you guys to be more closely with us and help put on a bigger and even better show next year. Thank you very much, guys. Hey, Aman, if you're here, can you come on stage? I don't see Aman.
Okay, do you want to announce a networking hour? Networking, wine. Yeah,
Wine and wine?
Yeah, wine and wine.
Okay, guys, now we have a little bit of a wine and unwind session. So there's some wine being served. If you'd like to just hang out and unwind and relax with your friends, now's the time. Thank you so much, everyone.